Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to another episode of my F1 2026 mod career mode. This is part number 10 today for the Belgian Grand Prix. If you guys did miss the previous episode at the Italian Grand Prix, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. We had some major plot points in that episode, starting off in qualifying with a huge crash with a Ferrari parked on the racing line. We got a 5-place grid penalty from that, and then we found out the Ferrari didn't even have a driver in it. Some underhanded tactics from Ferrari trying to rival the other newer Italian team on the Formula 1 grid here in the form of ourselves with a Lamborghini. But in the middle of the race, we had a bit of a blinder of a strategy by pitting early for the dry tyres. That got us into the frame for the race lead. On the last lap, changing hands with Liam Lawson, but having that outright pace in a straight line, the Lamborghini engine powering us through to make the re-overtaking pass. Whilst I also had my own personal issues with a sprained ankle as well, we still managed to actually take an incredible win at the Italian Grand Prix. That honestly, you know, I said before, you know, one of the other wins we've had so far this season must have been one of my best wins, but this, you know, with the context of everything around that Italian Grand Prix, the crash in qualifying with the Ferrari, the fact that we had just, you know, about 50% brake power basically most of the race, and we still came through for the victory is pretty mad. But you know what's more mad is that we've got 4 wins in this season. You know, and Liam Lawson is only a couple of points behind us, having only had 1 race win, showing that Liam Lawson is the one who's actually been the more consistent driver. You know, a lot of the AI close to us in the title fight right now, they're doing what I usually do, not winning multiple races, but always being there, getting the points, whereas we've obviously had a very difficult start to the season. We have to claw back points, and having 4 wins and only being, what, 7 points ahead in the championship is actually pretty insane when you think about it for a 16 race season. So something that may help that consistency for the rest of the season is finally going ahead and purchasing the 3rd engine development hurdle. Less of a hurdle, more of a perk of building our own custom engine for this season is the fuel efficiency, which is available to us now, and the final hurdle, the MGK, that will be available to us towards the end of the season. But in terms of the actual raw R&D chart performance in the actual game itself, we've got Ferrari making some upgrades, Audi and Alfa Romeo Haas as well. But Audi, that's going to be a big one because they've already showed some signs of massive improvement with the jump they made at Portimao and Théo Pourchaire's podium, the very first podium for Audi Sport in Formula 1, and now they're level with Alpine pretty much, and Alpine have been mixing it up in the top 10 regularly. So could this be the start of Audi really being there, you know, battling for points? It's another team to worry about, potentially another 2 drivers to worry about in terms of the points paying positions in this fight we're in with the McLarens and the Red Bull Fords. And with that, now we come to Spa, back in our original electric racing green colours of AAR Lamborghini. A bit overcast right now on the Friday for qualifying because this is a sprint round, so we have that sprint race on the Saturday and then the full Grand Prix on the Sunday. So wanting to do well in qualifying, but knowing we have a chance then to improve upon that for the actual full grid, where, you know, the bigger points are taken on Sunday. Of course, we still want to try and score well on the Saturday as well, but we go quickest of all early on in that session, only pipped by Oscar Piastri by the end of it. But the McLarens and Red Bulls again looking strong, but look at that, Ferrari up there, Audi up there as well. So those 2 teams have definitely seen a bit of an uptick in performance in terms of form. Ferrari, I mean, they were already there in the R&D chart terms, they've just not really, you know, turned up, whereas that now they are starting to do that. Whereas Audi, they're really a new player in the game, and last episode, I mean, Théo Pourchaire, you know, one of the F2 original drivers in the game, showing his class, showing his growth in this career series to get that podium ahead of his more senior teammate Carlos Sainz. But look at how close things are in Q2. I went quickest of all, but then by the end of Q2, Pierre Gasly, our teammate, has gone top. Piastri second place, but we've only got 400th separating the top three. We've got both Audi sport cars making it in. Mick Schumacher on his return to the grid after his very glitchy Italian Grand Prix. He is the sole Ferrari in. Verstappen again struggling versus Mick Schumacher this season. He's knocked out. And of course, we've got, well, you can see Liam Lawson there setting the fastest time so far. They're just always there. The McLarens have just been always there. And that's why Liam Lawson's only won one race and is still 7 points behind us in the championship to our 4 wins, because they're, you know, just all the top fives, the podiums Liam Lawson has been getting, Piastri as well. It just all adds up compared to our, you know, it was 2 no points finishes at the start of the season when we were trying to get over our engine gremlins. And, you know, we knew that was going to be part and parcel of building our own engine. And, you know, we are banking on having this success that we have had in the recent, you know, 6 episodes of those 4 wins to try and claw us back. You know, we've built a real monster of an engine and a car as well, which is, you know, pretty much maxed out, you know, barring a couple of, you know, CPU upgrades that we can't control on the engine side of things. But Q3, frustration for me, you know, we went so close to Gasly's time on the first run, and this second run, I don't know what happened. I thought I was as committed as I was on the first one, but we just lost so much time in the middle sector to the point where I bailed out at the very end of the lap because I thought, you know, I basically waved the white flag. I just could not see a way we were going to beat Gasly. And so, unfortunately, we have been beaten by our teammate to pole position. But it's still a happy, happy day because it's a front row lockout for the sprint race. Gasly first, myself second. It's a bit of Noah's Ark, really, with McLaren locking out the second row and then Red Bull Ford all on the third row. Fernando Alonso pipping Lando Norris, and then Mick Schumacher does well to be P7. But Pourchaire's up there in P8, but a lot of those guys at the bottom half of the top 10 just nowhere near the kind of electric pace that myself and Gasly are showing, and, you know, versus even the McLaren guys. But it's a sprint race, so we've got to do the job to convert this now to a grid slot for Sunday's Grand Prix and try and maximise the points in the sprint, because it really could come down to, you know, a couple of points that we may or may not score in a sprint race like this. But with our teammate beating us to the sprint pole, with everything that's gone on before at Portimao, let's try and see if we can beat our teammate on track when it matters for the race. Lights out, and away we go for this sprint. It is overcast, but no rain involved. Gasly is going to squeeze us, and we dip a tyre onto the grass. A little bit of drifting, and we've somehow, I don't know how, we've managed to actually drift our way to maintain P2. I thought that was going to be absolute curtains for us in terms of the 2 Red Bulls and others attacking us. And actually, it's been a horrendous getaway for both McLarens. They were 3-4. It's actually now Red Bull Ford 3rd and 4th. Lawson is 5th place, and Piastri has had an even worse start. He's down to P8 behind a Ferrari and an Audi there, and you can actually see Schumacher finishing that overtake as Lawson had a go at trying to re-overtake him. But yeah, Schumacher up into P5, Lawson down to P6, and yeah, well, Piastri, even worse. What has gone on there? That's just must have been them bogging down to no end, really, off the race start. So the 2 Red Bull Fords then, 3rd and 4th, looking to chase after myself, but I'm hoping to push away and get onto the back of Pierre Gasly. But right now, I can't lie, Alonso is a lot closer to me than I am to Pierre Gasly. But through these corners, we're feeling good in terms of the setup we've got. You know, the balance is always a compromise here at Spa about straight line speed and also the downforce, compared to Monza, where it's all about the straight line speed. So sometimes you can get it wrong, but hopefully I have got the balance right, and it looks like we have, because we have actually pushed away from Alonso, and on lap 2, Gasly leading the way. But as we go down the Kemmel Straight, can we change that? We pull to the left-hand side. Gasly again doesn't give us too much room to work with. We dip a tyre onto the grass for the second time in this sprint. We go round the outside, a little bit deep though, because of the grass on my tyre basically didn't allow me to turn in as hard, and Gasly's still there. And so now we're neck and neck battling side side by side down the hill. Gasly's got the advantage. Can we manage to get on power and just slip this down the inside and then try and bring the car out wide to get the elbow out? But Gasly is still there. This is turning into an absolute classic fight here between teammates for the race win, the sprint win, I must say, so maybe doesn't count as much as the full Grand Prix, but in terms of pride between teammates, as I've said, with everything that's happened at Portimao, we kind of want revenge on Gasly, and again, there's a bit of contact, and we dip a tyre into the grass for a third time. Collision with Gasly, a warning for that. Obviously, it's just racing, basically. It's a racing incident, but Gasly's being very aggressive indeed. As Alonso now, though, has a great run on us because we went so wide on that exit. But now we close back to Gasly. Oh, God! Move to the brake zone, and we've gone wide. We've hit Gasly, and we've spun round. We're down to 10th place. Somehow, absolute miracle, that how have we not broken a bit of our front wing? How have we not done that? I think, oh no, we have. We have broken a bit of it on the front left, but how have we not broken more? That the speed at which we hit Gasly, that front wing should have come off. And to be honest, if Gasly doesn't have side pod or floor damage, I'll be very surprised. But movement in the brake zone, kind of giving off Vettel versus Button vibes from 2010, so many years ago, for you to recall. But that was a very similar sort of situation where I basically all got crossed up, and that wasn't Gasly's fault, that was mine. I was trying to be way too aggressive, moving from the inside to the outside at the bus stop, and I've got it all wrong, and now I'm paying the price as we're down to P9. So what, the kind of red mist, the desire to get that revenge on Gasly has now clouded my judgment there, and we've messed that up basically, because now we're trying to catch back up and make up positions with some damage. We've re-overtaken Sainz, we've re-overtaken Verstappen up to P8 to get 1 point in this sprint race, but oh, that was just so silly. That was so silly. I didn't need to be that aggressive, but it's just something is going off in the helmet, now. Ever since Portimao, Gasly hitting us, I just so badly wanted to beat him in this sprint and do it in a kind of flamboyant fashion, and it's just come back to bite me, really. And now with this lack of downforce, every right-hander is feeling horrendous, and having overtaken Verstappen and Sainz, they've now re-overtaken us, so the Ferrari's back into 8th place. The Audi struggling a little bit for traction. Sainz one of one, I think, that have gone onto the medium compound tyre in a sprint race. Very peculiar decision by Audi and Carlos Sainz there. Maybe they're saving a soft compound for the main race, but we've managed to re-overtake him at least. But for the lead then, Gasly still in P1, but for how much longer? Because now he's got Fernando Alonso all over the back of him. No longer has he got me as a rear gunner, and Alonso sails through with some great speed. I mean, we saw that in Monza. The Ford engine in the back of that Red Bull clearly is a very, very solid one. As I'm just losing composure there. That's a bad mistake versus Carlos Sainz. We definitely could have defended that better, and we've lost that position to Sainz once again. Thankfully, at least we're going to remain in P10, and I'm trying to hold that for the end of the Grand Prix to get us P10 on the road for Sunday's Grand Prix. But to be honest, looking at Gasly here, maybe we were always going to go backwards a little bit, because Gasly's just been done by Lando Norris. The Red Bull Fords have turned up and they've looked electric. It's a 1-2 for the Austrian outfit. Alonso leads the way, Lando Norris in second place, and it looks like there might be a bit more action on the second last lap. Oh my God, Lando dips a tyre onto the grass. He goes from left to right to overtake his teammate, but into the next right-hander he locks up. Oh, it's a howler. It's a mistake from Norris, having just got the lead. He's now all of a sudden back down to P3, and Gasly is back up into second place. Oh, he's going to be ruining that, Lando is. It was a great overtake, but I think the grass on his tyre, just like me with Gasly, kind of impeded him there a little bit. A bit worse than me, of course, because he locked up and went straight on rather than just going a little bit wide. But it won't matter, because Lando gets back into second place, really showing the dominance of Red Bull Ford around this circuit. I mean, Red Bull have been known to go really well at Spa over the years, and so Alonso wins the sprint. Lando Norris in second place. Gasly gets the third place medal for the sprint here, and we are hobbling along in P10 with that front wing damage. That is a frustrating sprint. Instead of starting, you would hope at least on the front row, second row minimum for the full Grand Prix tomorrow. I'm now starting down in 10th place. And ultimately, it was my fault. The other bits of contact, I think Gasly was a bit over-aggressive with the squeezing, the multiple tyres on the grass. But the actual instant of me spinning it at the bus stop, that was my fault. I'll put my hands up. I was way too aggressive, and so we've only got ourselves to blame, really. And it's the first time we've really made a massive, massive howler in this season. That wasn't our own fault in terms of, it wasn't the car or anything like that. So it is what it is, basically. But in terms of the standings, that means Liam Lawson grabs 3 points on me. And he's only 4 points back now, 144 points to 140. And we've won 4 races, he's won 1. That's still just a mad stat to me, how we're only 4 points ahead, just showing the strength and consistency of Lawson, of Alonso, still chasing 10 points back. But now we've got a full Grand Prix to try and make up for what just happened in the sprint. Let's go to Sunday. We've got some big time making up to do in this full Grand Prix, and I must say, we're getting used to seeing a lot of the Audi cars around us now. It was Théo Pourchaire last episode, Carlos Sainz here ahead of me on the grid in P9. Verstappen directly ahead of us, though, in the Ferrari. I can see Pourchaire also up ahead, but it's Pierre Gasly, our teammate, further up the road. Want to try and aim for him, but also hoping that we've got a bit more race pace on a full tank versus the Red Bull Fords as we go to 5 red lights, and we're underway for the full Belgium Grand Prix. And Gasly's had a stonking start. I think that's him up into P1. It's a double overtake for him on the Red Bull Fords. Unbelievable stuff for him, and that's just more motivation for me as we overtake Piastri early on into turn 1 again. McLaren really not that hot on the race start. Both of them losing positions again. What is going on with the Papaya team? I spoke so much about consistency for them. Is this the first sign of a little bit of a chink in their armour? Because whatever's going on with their cars today, they've just not got off the line well. I mean, they both have chosen the medium compound tyre, whereas I and a few others have chosen the soft tyre, and trying to, make the most of this, the compound at the race start. But at the moment, getting caught up in a sandwich of Piastri and Lawson. Piastri was down my inside. A little bit of contact there as I try and get the elbow out, and a lot of wheel spin and oversteer for good measure, but we had to take avoiding action on Lawson earlier. So we remain in P8 after all that chaos, but let's try and get the Kiwi driver as Verstappen is having a go at Pourchaire in the Audi. We get to the inside of the McLaren, the nearest man to us in the championship. So to be honest, if we're thinking about the championship, we've already done a great job to be ahead of Lawson, and now trying to go for one more position into turn 1. Verstappen, though, a little bit awkwardly placed his car, and it's deja vu for us as we dip a tyre onto that left-hand side. Thankfully, no damage, and it means we're now going to be side by side as we run towards Rouge, and we're still going to be neck and neck as we go through Radion as well. But to the Kemmel Straight, we get ahead in P6, but that Ferrari is very slippery, as we've seen many times, and Lawson as well fancying a little pop, as it's maybe nearly going to be 3 wide, but we're going to outbrake both of them and stay ahead, and instead it's going to be Lawson overtaking Verstappen. But let's take a look at a replay of Pierre Gasly's race start, because this was honestly a cracking getaway versus one of the Red Bulls on softs, who actually had the worst start of the 2 Red Bulls, ironically. Gasly has also chosen the mediums then, and he's up into P1 on the medium. He's done very well compared to Piastri and Lawson, that both started on mediums and went backwards. But this was the contact that Piastri made with it, so he was really aggressive, and I think he broke a bit of his front wing on that first initial bit of contact, and maybe potentially more on that second bit of contact with us as we got the elbow out. So Piastri not having a great race, the reigning champion maybe losing touch a little bit with the championship. We are past the halfway point, so I think it's sensible to start talking about the championship fight and what's possible. And it does look like Piastri is slipping away a little bit as the reigning champion. It's more about myself versus Lawson, and Alonso is definitely in the frame, but he's not looking too quick at the moment, I must say. Lap 3 We've caught up to him. We've pushed away from Verstappen. You know, we're out of DRS of the Dutchman, and he's actually busy fighting Porsche. As you can see, their name tags swapping on the top left. But we're going to catch and hopefully overtake Fernando Alonso to get up into the top 4. But yeah, he's not looking too great. So, and Norris is looking good. He set the fast up of the Grand Prix. So maybe the Red Bull Ford is just not liking those soft tyres on the heavier fuel loads that we've got in this full Grand Prix. Because Norris, well, actually looking at the top left, Norris actually might have taken the lead now ahead of Gasly, because he's down to second. Schumacher's third, in flying high in the Ferrari. And on lap 6, I'm coming in. It's an early pit stop. Others are going to continue on their softs, but I'm calling it. I honestly think it wasn't worth it. The soft tyre wasn't worth it for me and for others. You know, Alonso's down to P7 now, so clearly the soft compound wearing a lot more on the heavier fuel load. And to be honest, actually, I don't even know if this was a fresh soft tyre. This may have been a tyre we used in qualifying. So in hindsight, maybe we should have just bit the bullet and gone onto the mediums, even though I don't love the medium tyre on this game with the My Team car. So we come out in P17, maybe 18 as Joe in the Gulf Williams is going to overtake us. We're going to have to try and commit to the inside line there to get back into P17, but we're on the hard tyre now. We know how good this car is on hard, so let's get the head down and hopefully get a monstrous undercut on a lot of stubborn drivers who are going to stay on softs, including the likes of Drugovic, Tsunoda up ahead. All these guys, I think, feeling the tyre wear. Leclerc on mediums, but even the medium tyre runners, they're getting caught up behind the soft tyre runners. So we make a double pass, or trying to, on Tsunoda and Leclerc, just skating through there. And yet, Russell on softs, Ricciardo on softs as well, Porsche on softs. We're catching back up to Porsche. That is how much these soft tyres have fallen off a cliff. But these guys are being so stubborn with each other that they're refusing to pit earlier. Whereas I've made that gamble, I've made that call, and it's working out for us, because we're now going to re-overtake Porsche for the second time, or I thought we were, but he's actually going to go ahead and overtake Valtteri Bottas. He almost crashed into the wall whilst he did that, because it was a quick left to right. Oh, Bottas, he's got some damage there, I could see, on the front wing, so that's also maybe why that entire train was so slow, because Bottas was heading that train and holding everyone up. But even still, in clean air now, Porsche is so slow. Look at that traction difference mid-corner as... Oh, God, what the hell is that on the rear wing? Oh, God, no, okay. DRS unavailable to us. It could have been a lot worse. I thought for a second that may have been a rear wing failure of some kind. That could have been a lot worse, but DRS not available. I mean, we just got into clean air at that point of the race, so that wasn't too much of a bother. And then a couple of laps later, by the time we catch up to Fernando Alonso, I've actually... the problem's gone away. We've got DRS back as into... What the hell was going on there, Fernando? Going into Radion, Alonso brake testing us a little bit there, or lifting off in a place where he really shouldn't. Maybe showing how poor the tyre wear is on those softs. He was so low grip on those softs that he's had to lift off midway through Radion. That is just mad. And what's mad really is the fact we've actually overtaken him again. We overtook him on what? Lap 3, was it? Lap 3, lap 4? And only 5 laps later, we've made a pit stop and we've overtaken him again. So we've gained a whole pit stop's time on Alonso, the man who won the sprint race on Saturday, just in this same episode, just showing the tyre wear difference and just how poor those softs are running. I think it's going to be a big win for us, and also maybe a big win for all the medium tyre runners. So that includes the top 3 of Norris, Gasly, Schumacher, the 2 McLarens. They're going to come back into this now, I think, being on mediums. Sainz as well, as we look to make an overtake on Ocon, and not for the first time. Ocon making life difficult for us as we have to lift off there. Can you imagine if I'd committed full throttle to that left-hander there? Ocon would have sliced me up, and that would have been an absolute disaster, as we're going to overtake him on the outside. He's hit us! Ocon's hit us! He was coming into the pits! Oh, dearie me. We really are having a very messy Belgian Grand Prix weekend as we overtake Verstappen in the pits, and we're into P6. Sainz, Lawson, etc. on mediums. They'll carry on. for a few more laps, but eventually lap 11, Sainz is in. So now we're seeing the medium tyre runners coming in, and look at the top left, Schumacher on the hards, Norris as well. So most people going for medium to hards, and honestly I think that was probably the quickest strategy, but we're going to have to deal with it. But we are going to overtake, and we've undercut Mick Schumacher. We've undercut him. We're up into P4, and it will be a P3. It will be a podium because Lawson has yet to pit. He's in the lead. He's yet to pit in this race. So Gasly has pit as well as Norris, and he's got back ahead. So Gasly will be in a net P1, Norris P2, me in P3 effectively once Lawson makes that pit stop. You may have seen though on the bottom right when we're on board with our car that the engine icon is orange. We've got some strangely high wear on the ICE. I'm talking about it was 40% going into the race weekend, and it's now on like 65 to 70%, having just done a qualifying and sprint race. So the sprint not helping me out with the engine wear, and it's the first time we've really faced some bad engine wear since the first race. What the? Oh my god, Max Verstappen is having such a dreadful and unlucky season in Ferrari. He's crashed into the wall. Must have been a snap of oversteer that's put him into that wall, and that's brought out a red flag. A red flag at Spa. Very peculiar. There's a lot of runoff around here, but around there where Verstappen just crashed, there is no runoff. So red flag. Oh my god, that's going to be massive for Lawson. Lawson hadn't pit. So Liam Lawson, our nearest rival in the championship, he's just got a free pit stop. He's going to be on pole for this second restart, and he just got a free pit stop there, the lucky bugger. So that is quite big for us then in the championship. We have to try and make the most of it, but I was really struggling to pick my tyre. I thought about going onto hards again, but I thought only 9 laps to go. It's maybe worth the pain of a medium. Surely the medium, even for our car, is going to perform better over 9 laps. But to my surprise, I'm the only one who's gone mediums. So I think we maybe have made a mistake. Others have gone on hards because of the tyre wear we face. As we go to 5 red lights again, Lawson gets a good start. It's pretty equalised. Lando Norris dives down the inside. It's 3 abreast for the guys ahead of me. And Lando will get into the lead. Lawson down to 3rd. It's another slow start for them. What the... Are you serious, Gasly? Are you serious? Gasly's just brake tested us off turn 1. And now we've got major front wing damage. This is even worse than we had in the sprints. We're down to P5, but as we enter the next brake zone, I have absolutely no semblance of how this car is performing now with this lack of a front wing on the front left. And we're down to P7. This is a disaster. This is our race pretty much over. I don't see how we're getting back into this because I have to make a pit stop now, and we've just got underway after a red flag. Ropes. Absolute ropes. Are you kidding me? We're down to P9. Alonso's overtaken us, and look at that understeer. Look at that understeer. Gasly, man. What was that? What was that? I'll put my hands up. Sprint race, my fault. That one, that was... What was that? How are you letting off throttle or braking in an acceleration zone off turn 1 whilst you're trying to go for the race? If he carried on accelerating, he could have got the lead there, but instead he let off or, braked in the middle of this straight and broke my front wing. That is what's happened there. I can't explain it any differently. You can't tell me what Gasly did there was peculiar. Like, that was odd. Like he had a chance to get the lead there. And so now from P17, we're going to pit. We have to pit because our pace is horrendous. We've got no downforce because we've got a red front wing. We've also got a red engine, so our engine is very, very worn. So that's not great as well, but we were making the most of it, and the pure engine power was outdoing any kind of loss of power from the engine wear. But we're now in for a pit stop. We're stone dead last. I mean, Piastri's DNF'd. When did that happen? Piastri's out. Piastri's out. So this is going to be a massive open goal for Lawson, for Alonso, for Gasly to gain a lot of points on myself and Piastri. I mean, Piastri wasn't being chased down in the championship, of course. I was. So this is a big chance for Lawson. But let's look at a replay then. So nice little 3-wide moment. But then look at this. Gasly could have been side by side with Lando. At this point, he could have got P1. Instead, he lets off throttle. And obviously, I'm not expecting it. Do you hear that? Do you hear that? His engine cut out. he let off. He let off throttle. For what? For what? There was like a little flag for, maybe it was the yellow flag for like a split second, but honestly, he could have been in the lead. I could have followed him through for a 1-2, but no, he's let off throttle, and I've not obviously, counteracted it quick enough, because obviously why would I think he would be letting off? And then this is why Piastri's out. He actually suffered a mechanical failure off white red lights. That's so peak for Piastri. So he doesn't even get to turn 1 and he's out of the Grand Prix. I may as well be out of the Grand Prix anyway, because we're P18, it's lap 16. I've set the fast lap of the Grand Prix, so at least I've stolen a potential fastest lap point away from a Lawson, from a Gasly, from a Fernando Alonso potentially, but we're 15 seconds behind Sargent. Well and truly, if there's not a safety car, I'm completely out of this race. There's no way I'm getting back in. I'm going to continue on for a little bit, just in case, never say never in Formula 1, but by lap 21, it is absolute ropes here in the cockpit. No safety car. Gasly's P1, Schumacher second, and hang on, there's a fight for third between Lando. It's Sainz in the Audi. Where has he come from? The Audi is into third. Could it be back-to-back podiums for Audi Sport? Teo Porcher and Monza, Sainz here in Belgium, Norris down to P4, Alonso's climbed up to P5, and what's happened to Lawson? Lawson's P9. It's a shocking race for McLaren. They definitely have a car issue. You can't tell me that's not normal performance for McLaren. Piastri being out and Lawson being that slow, and both of them having bad race starts, that's got to be a McLaren issue. And whilst I've been talking about that, big movements going on in the top 5, because now all of a sudden it's Lando up in P3, Sainz lost 2 positions to Red Bull Ford, and he's down in P5, Tsunoda doing very well in the Aston Martin Honda P6. But yeah, Pierre Gasly, after all of that, having taken out my front wing, he's won this full Grand Prix and takes victory here in Spa. Mick Schumacher with a brilliant second place for Ferrari, and Sainz unfortunately does not grab the third place. That will go to Lando Norris, but what a sad day in the office.
What a great race then, and a magnificent victory here at the Belgian Grand Prix. Well, Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today, but what set them apart from the rest?
Taking care of the car was absolutely vital today. It's been obvious all weekend that the pace was there, but look at the attrition rate we've had. They would have been very concerned about any minor anomaly towards the latter stages of this Grand Prix.
Well, I'm thoroughly exhausted after the excitement of that race, but I'm sure it's nothing compared to our drivers here. They've worked hard to make it up there, and it's great to see them make their way onto the podium now.
We've gone from the lofty heights of winning the Italian Grand Prix with a 5-place penalty, with an ankle injury, to now not scoring points at all in the sprint or the main race. And whilst we do that, our teammates won the full thing, having taken out our front wing. Unbelievable, unbelievable, unbelievable. Fernando Alonso scores some big points. He's a big winner in all of this. His P4 is going to be very, very solid. 12 points on the board for Alonso. Lawson gets 4 points, so I'll be level with Lawson, I think, in the championship. But yeah, me and Piastri, 0 points. So Gasly's going to gain big time on Piastri. So in the standings then, it will be, oh wow, Fernando Alonso again takes the championship lead. He was leading once before after the Spanish Grand Prix, and he leads again. 2 points ahead is Fernando Alonso in the Red Bull Ford. Myself and Liam Lawson level on points. Then there's a bigger gulf to Gasly and Piastri. They're in their own little battle, but there's still enough races for them to get in the championship fight. But it's definitely a 3-way fight at the moment between myself, Lawson and Alonso. At least one thing's great. We've overtaken McLaren for the first time in the Constructors' Championship. I'm just really annoyed that it's Gasly that's taken a win to do that, unfortunately, because we've won 4 races this season and we don't have the plaudits of being the person who's won a race and, made the team lead the championship for the first time. So that's a bit of a kick in the teeth. even more so after that DNF. It is what it is. What a messy Belgium Grand Prix. Honestly, the way this episode's gone easily should have probably been the way Monza should have gone with my sprained ankle, but it is what it is. It's funny how it all works out. Guys, if you have enjoyed the episode though, nonetheless, hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. And if you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.